When we do a squared plus b squared and it equals c squared, they're the same thing. Right triangle, just like yesterday. Today, if you do a squared plus b squared and you do c squared and they're not the same number, instead of just saying no, we're going to tell what type of triangle it is. So it says you can identify the angle type of a triangle by using the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to have 3 different types of triangle answers today. We're going to have acute, what's the definition of acute? Less than 90 degrees. All angles are going to be less than 90 degrees. It could be obtuse, meaning one angle is what? Greater than 90, but less than 180. Or it could be right. Those are our 3 types of triangles. So, step number 1 says determine if the measurements even make a triangle. To do that, to determine, because maybe they're trying to trick us. Maybe the 3 numbers that they give us aren't even going to make a triangle. For example, the numbers 3 and 4 and 10. Well, if I had 3 and this one was 4, but then I have a side length of 10, is that going to work? No, that doesn't even make a triangle. Right? So we have to check to see if they make a triangle. So we're going to do A plus B. And the answer to A plus B, the legs added together, has to be bigger, greater than the biggest side, the longest, the hypotenuse, potentially. All triangles are going to measure 180. Their degrees add up to 180. So like acute would be 60, 60, and 60. Because all 3 of those angle measurements add up to 180. Obtuse could be 100, 50, and 30. Because they're going to, all of the angles add up. But we're not talking about angles, except for right. Obtuse and acute, we're naming them. But we're not given the angle measurements, we're given the side measurements instead of. So, if it makes a triangle, if A plus B, the smallest side plus the medium side, has a greater sum than C, Esther. I'm sorry. If A plus B is greater than C, it's a triangle. We know it's going to work. If you add it together and A plus B is not bigger than C, you're going to say it doesn't even make a triangle. And I don't have to go any further. So, if it passes step 1, you move on to step 2. You substitute the values into the Pythagorean theorem. A is the smallest side, B is the medium side, C is the largest side, correct? Let's write the Pythagorean theorem again one more time. A squared plus B squared, and it should equal C squared. Right? Yeah. So, if it's a right triangle, they're equal. If it's a right triangle, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. It's equal. We've had lots of practice with that. We're really good. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Does it work? Yes, it's a right triangle. The new part, though, today is what do we do when it doesn't work? And when it doesn't work, for example, if you do a squared plus b squared and the hypotenuse squared is bigger, it's obtuse. And that's because if your hypotenuse is really, really big, it's going to push your triangle open more. The bigger your hypotenuse, the more open your triangle gets. See how each one of these has a little bit longer of a hypotenuse? It's pushing it open. So the bigger your hypotenuse is, it pushes it open, it makes it obtuse. What do you think this one would be? Yeah, the legs, a squared plus b squared, is greater than the hypotenuse squared. The legs squared are greater than the hypotenuse. You're going to need a calculator. So make sure your calculator is handy right now. All right, I've done some of them for you. I did the first 5. Let's just double check. This one is not a triangle because 7 plus 14 is not bigger than 27.1. This one's not a triangle because 6 plus 8 is not bigger than it's 14, but it has to be bigger. It has to be greater than 14. Over here, this one was a right triangle. Why is it a right triangle? What do you do to find it a right triangle? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So what's a? 0.5 squared plus, and then I did 1.3 squared, and they're the same. Yes? Over here, this is acute. What's my a? 7 squared plus 8 squared is my b, right? And then I do c squared. And my legs are bigger than my hypotenuse. My legs are bigger than my hypotenuse, so it's acute. Down here, 20 squared plus 34 squared and 39.3 squared, yes. My legs are bigger than my hypotenuse. 1,556 is greater than 1,544.49. Since my legs are bigger than my hypotenuse, it's an acute triangle. 3 squared plus 4 squared. And then 6 squared is my hypotenuse. My hypotenuse is bigger. Hypotenuse is bigger. It's obtuse. These 5 have been done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, 6. Counting. All right, who can tell me? Oh, let's check first. How do you check to make sure it's a triangle? What are you going to add? A plus B. A plus B has to be bigger than C. It's not bigger. I don't square anything to check if it's a triangle. Checking a triangle is just small side plus medium side. Has to be greater than the big side. So this just doesn't even work. 15, 20, 36.
The next one goes.
What should I add here to double check? 9 plus 15. And sometimes you don't even have to add. Because in your mind, is 9 plus 15 going to be bigger than 17? Okay, so I'm good there. Sometimes you do need to add just to check. All right, so now let's see what kind of triangle it is. 9 squared plus 15 squared. Get an answer? And then do 17.5 squared. Get an answer. Which one's bigger? C squared is bigger, so it's obtuse. 9, 17.5, and 15. It does not make a right triangle. It, in fact, makes an obtuse triangle because C squared is bigger than the legs squared. Do you think this one's going to be a triangle? What would you add? 24 plus 45, and it has to be bigger than 51. Do you think it will? Yes. Let's test it out. What kind of triangle? What plus what? Perfect. This is Molly. Hi. Uh-huh. Correct. Bye. All right, and then what do I do? Where am I? I got lost. 51. What is it?
Right. So is this our, is this one we
Yep. So this one, I have to get bigger than 2.5, right? So let's just check. 1.8 plus 0.8. Is it bigger than 2.5? Whew, just barely. 1.8 squared plus 0.8 squared and 2.5 squared. Which one's bigger? The C squared. So what kind of triangle? Obtuse. All right, I'm freezing this. I'm going to keep working. You keep working and check back with me. I'll slowly reveal answers. Again, don't forget to just eyeball sometimes. Check to see, is it going to work? Wait till she comes back. So you could be doing problems while you're waiting. Don't forget to check. Is the short side plus the medium side bigger than the longer side? You've got to make sure that it makes a triangle first. Some of them you can just look at and know. Well, I was getting worried. I hadn't gotten an acute one for a while. Or ever, I guess. All right, I did the third row. The third row answers are now in the boxes. If you have finished the third row, you can check. Don't forget, eyeball it. Is A plus B bigger than C? It can't be equal to it. It has to be greater. Oh, I guess that works. Don't forget, you get into this rut of saying like, oh, just a squared plus b squared equals c squared over here. Don't mind me. But you forget, like that last problem, 7, 15, and 3. 7 plus 3 is not bigger than 15. It doesn't even make a triangle. Here's that last row.